bunch of people kind of curious. I guess they were kind of confused as well by when I said I knew it was my EGR valve that was going bad at my car. There's some very specific characteristics about an EGR valve that will make a malfunctioning EGR valve help the car show signs that it's malfunctioning without even knowing that it's the actual EGR valve. What was going on with mine was I had an EGR valve previously, which is obviously my first indication that I'm looking for an EGR valve problem, because I actually ran the codes. I replaced the EGR valve with a car ID EGR valve, because all the other EGR valves were 150 plus. So I put the car ID EGR valve on it, and what ended up happening is the first day or two the code stayed clear and it functioned fine, but on the third day, between like 30 and 50 mile an hour under light load, I would get this like misfiring hesitation, like something was going on with this thing, but it wasn't before it and it wasn't after it. So I'm thinking to myself, well, I wonder if that EGR valve pintle, the valve inside, is actually stuck and it's trying to close but it can't close. It's trying to open under light load, under cruise type atmosphere or cruise control, like you're cruising at 30, 35, 40 mile an hour. That's when the EGR valve would open and actually allow exhaust gas to flow, and it's just hesitant. It doesn't know exactly what it wants to do, and you get that stuttering and stumbling. But if you put your foot in it and get out of it, all of a sudden it would go away. The EGR valve is not supposed to function at all under wide open throttle or heavy load. So I was purposely making this thing act the way I wanted it to act and show me its face. Now, I guess you could do that if there was like an ignition problem and expect to somewhat get away with it, but I wouldn't expect that every single time. This was happening this way every single time. So then eventually I got to a point where just under high RPM cruise, long distance driving, it would clear that EGR valve episode up sometimes, because at that point the engine's moving so fast, and even if the EGR valve is stuck open, the amount of exhaust gas that would be going into the cylinder would be in and out, expelled so fast that the car wouldn't know as much at that point that there's a problem as if you were going slow and you didn't need as much fuel, I don't know if I would say fuel mixture or very specific. It's hard to put the words out on what I mean on this very particular topic. At higher speed, you would have more going in and out of the engine faster, and need the amount of exhaust gas that would end up in the exhaust would be a lot less than if you were going slow and you weren't pulling as much, pistons moving as fast, pulling as much exhaust gas back into the cylinder, and it would show its face. It would malfunction worse. So then I went ahead and got a $200 Napa one with a 3-year 36,000 mile warranty and put it on, and that cleared up everything. No codes, no nothing, no specific instances where it came back at all. It's been spot on every single day. No check engine light. I've had it for I think a couple weeks now on here. Check engine light hasn't come on one single time. So be careful with what you purchase. I bought a cheap EGR valve, and it bit me in the butt. And maybe you get lucky sometimes, maybe you don't. But this particular time, it almost cost me to fail my emissions, because I got it to go off just a couple days right before I had to go for the emissions test, and then it popped right back on the day of or the day after the emissions test, and it failed that monitor. So I would have failed my emissions test if I would have been relying on that car ID part, and it would have been just another day. So be very careful with what you buy. This is what I was experiencing with a failed EGR valve. And I know some people say, well, they don't have a high failure rate. You could go to the junkyard and you could just actually get one from the junkyard, just $5, $10. They'll sell you one cheap. Yeah, you could. I mean, if that's what you want to do, and might work for you. I just didn't want to chance it. I know other people, they don't have a problem with that, with these types of EGR valves on these Panther platform cars. But I did. I've got the extra money for it, so I decided to just go ahead and buy a new one. Just, you know, probably more peace of mind than anything. The Ford EGR valve was $200 without tax. The Napa EGR valve with some of my parts markup, where at work, you know, Napa may only give a year warranty or 2-year warranty, but because it's through the dealership that I purchased it, it's a 3-year, 36,000 mile warranty through Napa. So I said, you know what, I'll pay the extra money just to get the warranty, and in case this thing ever goes bad again, you know, I will have it taken care of under warranty. So that's my EGR valve story, and still to this day, no check engine lights on, no warning lights, no nothing. Everything completely fine, and we're still on the road safely and with good fuel economy for the most part, for whatever a town car can offer. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.